Well, my friends, it's beginning to look a lot like basketball season. The lights inside Marcus Pavilion are on, and the familiar sweet sounds of basketball are resounding beneath its curving rooftop. Sneakers are squeaking, basketballs are thumping, pregame shots are rattling the rims at either end of the Twin Star Court, and, well, quite unlike the abbreviated Saints season that the Saints played in January and February earlier this year, another recognizable sound has returned to the St. Martin's campus, the all-too-amazing sound of fans back in the stands. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the home opener for St. Martin's men's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, I'm Jeff Lucero. Happy to be here with you for the live broadcast from Marcus Pavilion tonight. While we're certainly very happy to have you along for the broadcast, we hope you won't mind if we say that we might be even happier to be joined by the folks that have made their way inside Marcus Pavilion tonight to watch the Saints in person for the first time in nearly 2 years. Tonight's opponent for the Saints traveled about 100 miles up I-5 to join us here tonight. That is the Warner Pacific Knights. We'd, of course, like to welcome in any Knights fans tuning in this evening. Very nice to have you along for the broadcast as well. We'll talk matchup shortly, but first, I want to back up to something that, for my money anyway, is one of the great storylines for college basketball so far this season. Fans are back in the stands. Austin, we were in here last night for the Saints women's basketball game. That was my first time seeing people in here for basketball since February of 2020. Well, besides, of course, players, coaches, refs, and, well, you. Austin, before we dive into everything else there is to discuss as we get set for another season together, and we do have a ton to discuss, but before all that, I was hoping that you could just take a moment to talk about how special it was to see fans back inside Marcus Pavilion, both on Saturday and yesterday, for the Saints' two first basketball games in front of a live studio audience. And what a difference it makes to have someone to look at in here, besides me for a change.
Absolutely, Jeff. It's amazing to be back, and especially Marcus Pavilion. 1,000 fans can make it sound like 10,000 fans in here. It gets loud. It's a great atmosphere, and we really missed that in 2021 in the spring. And so to be able to come back, and I think that was the first thing when I talked with all the coaches and the players, what are you excited about the most? You know, they always talked about, we can't wait to be playing in front of fans again. It just felt wrong last year. It was great to have basketball, but it felt wrong with nobody in the stands. The stands pulled back. I'm glad that we're back in full swing here today. So, this was really a special, it was a hard road to get here, to do it safely, but I'm just glad we're back in full swing and getting to play some basketball in front of the Saints faithful tonight.
And really kudos to the entire athletic staff here at St. Martin's for seeing it through and seeing to it that the Saints were even able to play games earlier this year at all. We'll take our first break here on the Saints men's basketball pregame show. When we return, we'll take a look at what Saints head coach Aaron Landon is working with in his second year on campus. You are dialed in for the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network. And welcome back in for the Saints men's basketball pregame show. As we noted before we went to break, this is year number, well, we'll call it year 2.5 under Saints head coach Aaron Landon. It's His second full season, however, and third including the 12-game docket that the Saints were able to play earlier this year in January and February. His first year and a half presented, well, some trying times for Coach Landon, and he'd be the first to tell you as much. His first season here, the Saints emerged from a very difficult slate of games to open their season with a very promising, very respectable mark of 4-4, which included victories in their first 2 league games, both on the road at Northwest Nazarene and Central Washington. But the season got a little bit rougher from there as the Saints went on to lose 19 of their next 20 games before knocking off Northwest Nazarene in their season finale to earn the season sweep against the Nighthawks and finish the season with 6 wins on the year, 4 of those coming against league opponents. Earlier this year, besides a game apiece against D1 programs Seattle U and Portland State in the pandemic-shortened 12-game season, the Saints were able to play round-robin style against just 3 other GNAC rivals, Seattle Pacific, Northwest Nazarene, and Central Washington. The other 6 schools in the conference either didn't unpause basketball activities until it was too late to schedule any games against them, or just didn't play any games at all. So let's take it back real quick to Saints head coach Aaron Landon. His second full year here means that he's that much closer to establishing the type of basketball culture and identity that he began crafting and sculpting when he arrived at St. Martin's 2 years ago. And it does seem, in fact, that despite the logistical inconveniences and complications presented by the pandemic, which have no doubt impacted the way he's been able to scout players and recruit them, he's really starting to move this thing in a direction that truly and fully suits his style and philosophy. And as we learned from him when we spoke to him a few nights ago, the way he's assembled this year's edition of Saints basketball is also one that he thinks positions his squad to much better compete against the traditional powers here in the GNAC. Austin, one look at the box scores from the Saints' first 2 games this season is all it takes for something very significant to jump out at you. The top 4 scorers for this team so far are brand new to the program this fall. This team looks quite different, nearly by orders of magnitude, than it did during that abbreviated season the Saints played earlier this year.
Absolutely, Jeff. Usually it takes about 3-4 years to build up a program, get those recruits in. Aaron Landon hit the fast-forward button in the offseason. He brought in Division I transfers. Yep. He brought in highly touted JC transfers, and you're seeing an immediate impact onto the court. Nielsen Skinner, or known by his teammates as Skinny, he's a great point guard out of Portland State and came over with Kyle Greeley. Those 2 are going to make a huge impact on the guard position this year. And Brett Reed, if you're a huge fan of Division II basketball, you might remember that name from a couple years ago. He was one of the best rebounders, not just in the Pac-West, but in the entire country at Chaminade, averaging over 8 boards a game in just 20 minutes. So, and Christian Hafner was an MVP of a championship in the junior college level. So, I mean, they got a lot of talent on the floor. They are hitting the fast-forward button because the GNAC is not an easy league to get wins in. Seattle Pacific is one of the best teams in the country. Northwest Nazarene made a deep run in the tournament. There's a lot of traffic to go through for the Saints, but they put together a squad that's very veteran, has played at a high level before, and they're going to be able to hit the ground running this season. We should be able to see it here tonight in the home opener.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. A team that returns its starting 5 from that pandemic shortened season earlier this year, and yet as through the first 2 games of this season anyway, the top 4 scorers, once again, it bears worth repeating, the top 4 scorers on a team that returns all 5 starters are all guys that are brand new faces here on the campus at St. Martin's this year. We'll talk more about those new names and faces both during tonight's broadcast and throughout the season. Heck, we've got as much to learn about all these new players as everyone else tuning in to watch these games. We will take another quick break here on the pregame show. When we return, we will preview tonight's opponents. You're dialed in for the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show. And welcome back into the Saints men's basketball pregame show. And it is time for a quick look at the Saints' opponent tonight, the Warner Pacific Knights, representing the NAIA's Cascade Collegiate Conference down in Portland. The Knights come in tonight having dropped its most recent game to level their record at 2-2. And after tonight, well, their record will still be 2-2. While this game counts as an official game for the Saints, it's an exhibition for the Knights. This team is both experienced and well-traveled. Among the 15 players Knights head coach Jermaine Potts has on this roster, 8 of them are seniors. And of those 15 dudes, all but 2 of them began their collegiate basketball careers elsewhere. There are a whopping 13 transfers suiting up for the Knights this year. 3 players have started each of the Knights' first 4 games this season. Now, of those, 2 returned from last year, namely Isaac Etter. He's a 6'1 guard who is currently second on the team in scoring with 12 points per game. His backcourt cohort, Tyrese Yusuf Willis, is a 5'10 guard who's wasted no time asserting himself as one of the team's new leaders since transferring from the University of Puget Sound. He's the Knights' leading scorer at about 14 points per game. He also leads this team with nearly 4 assists per game. And overall, the Knights are averaging just under 74 points per game. They're shooting 44% from the floor, but just 28% from 3, but 74% at the line. They're also fairly deep. Of those 15 aforementioned players, 10 of them average at least 13 minutes per game, and no one's averaging more than 32 minutes per game. This upstart Knights team has already showed some flashes of promise. It's basically what you'd expect from upstart head coach Jermaine Potts, who's in his first full season leading this Warner Pack program. And they come in tonight with literally nothing to lose. Remember, this is an exhibition game for the Knights. They come in with a record of 2-2, and no matter what happens, they'll leave with a record of 2-2. So really and truly, they literally cannot lose tonight. And hey, this is a program with a lot of proud tradition behind it. Get this, the Knights have represented the Cascade Collegiate Conference at the NAIA National Tournament 11 times in the past 15 years, including a streak of 8 years in a row at one point. They're deep, they have a ton of experience, and just as we said, they have literally nothing to lose. And since the Saints can in fact lose tonight, as this game does count on their schedule, they'd be wise not to look past a team looking to level up against a D2 opponent in the midst of a rebuild of its own here tonight. We will take our final break on the Saints men's basketball pregame show. On the other side, we'll set the stage with some starting lineups as we move closer to tip-off. You are tuned in for the Saints men's basketball pregame show on the St. Martin's Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion here on the campus of St. Martin's University for tonight's home opening men's basketball matchup between the visiting Warner Pacific Knights and the hometown Saints of St. Martin's. We've had to let Austin go, unfortunately. He's going to be back across the way over at the scorer's table tonight helping out with stats. So you're stuck with me flying solo on the broadcast here this evening. Please go easy on me in the chat if we get that fired up on the broadcast. So we don't yet have starters plugged in, but what I can give you is the St. Martin starting lineup. And remember, this is a brand new look starting lineup for the Saints this year. We mentioned it in the pregame show. The 4 leading scorers on this year's Saints team so far in the first 2 games, all brand new players. We'll step away for just a moment for our national anthem. Well, all right, let's go ahead and quickly bring you some starting lineups. The lineup for Warner Pacific tonight, again, they come in tonight with a record of 2-2 under first-year head coach Jermaine Potts. Leading the way for the Knights tonight, number 1, Nigel McKay. He's a 6'5 freshman from Monrovia, California. Joined in the backcourt by number 11, Colton Gorski. He's a 6'3 sophomore from Boring, Oregon. Also in the backcourt tonight, number 12, Thomas Miles, a 6'2 junior from Portland. And in the front court, number 2, Darius Traylor, a 6'3 senior from Yuba City, California. And number 15, Justice DeCourcy, a 6'7 senior from Los Angeles. And now the starting lineup for the Saints tonight. In the backcourt for the Saints, a familiar face, number 0, Alex Schumacher, the 6'3 sophomore from Vancouver. He's joined in the backcourt tonight by brand new point guard number 11, Jaden Nielsen Skinner, the 5'10 sophomore from Salem, Oregon. Comes to St. Martin's after transferring here from Division I Portland State. Another Portland State transfer, also from Salem, Oregon, rounds out the backcourt for the Saints. That's number 5, Kyle Greeley. He is a 6'5 sophomore. Got a lot more to talk about those 2 players throughout the broadcast. Tyke Thompson, the 6'7 redshirt sophomore from Salem. Yep. 3 guys from Salem, Oregon in the starting lineup for the Saints. And getting his first start tonight for the Saints, number 24, Brett Reed, the 6'8 senior transfer from Houston. Most recently, though, played some college basketball at Chaminade over in Hawaii. Aaron Landon, the Saints head coach. This is, well, technically his 3rd season, but really just his 2nd full season at the helm here in Lacey. As the starters make their way to the floor, Saints clad in the home whites tonight. Warner pack decked out in black with the blue trim. Getting a few last-minute instructions from Jalen Potts. And now they slowly trickle out toward midcourt. And we're just seconds away now from tip-off of the men's basketball home opener here inside Marcus Pavilion. So great to see fans back in the stands here. I cannot stress it enough how great it is. So great to have all of you along, though, on the broadcast here this evening. Should be a fun one between these 2 squads. Jumping up for the Saints, it'll be Brett Reed. Opposite Justice DeCourcy for the Knights. Saints control the tip. We are underway. Saints quickly rush into their first offensive set. They free up Alex Schumacher, who rolls off a screen from the weak side, steps into a 3 from the top of the key, knocks it down, and the first points on the board very quickly for the Saints. They drop back into their man-to-man defense. A near travel at the other end as Justice DeCourcy just bullies his way to the basket and lays it up and in. 3-2 our score in the opening moments here if you're just joining us. Saints 1-1 to open the season. Jalen Nielsen-Skinner starts a drive, now darts back out between the circles. 10 on the shot clock. High screen set by Brett Reed. Nielsen-Skinner bluffs a pass inside that goes high off the glass. Look at that acceleration, and we're going to be seeing that throughout the season. Jaden Nielsen-Skinner, one of the fastest guys baseline to baseline in the GNAC this year. At the other end, Darius Traylor goes to work, dumps it off inside, and it's, again, Justice DeCourcy with back-to-back hoops for the Knights. No empty trips as yet for either side. Zach Thompson handles. Loses it momentarily, resets, really gets a touch. Now back into the hands of Nielsen-Skinner. Schumacher puts a dribble behind his back, dribbles it off the back of his foot and winds up turning it over. That pass batted away by Colton Gorski, but the Knights turn it over at the other end. Kyle Greeley on the run out. Fans out toward the right wing, in front of the Warner Pack bench now. Kicks to the corner. Down low it comes for Brett Reed. He goes to work right into the chest of Justice DeCourcy. His shot won't fall. Ball batted into the hands of a Warner Pack player, and back come the Knights. Gorski hawked out top by Nielsen-Skinner. Leaves it for Darius Traylor. He backs things out where Schumacher comes to meet him. Long cast on the way out of the hands of Thomas Miles, and he buries it. Had an NBA distance three-pointer from Thomas Miles. The Knights now with their first lead at 7-5, about 2.5 minutes into this game. Both teams just showing man-to-man so far. Schumacher up top. Now Nielsen-Skinner back with it. Attempts to pass. It's tipped away momentarily by Miles, back into the hands of the Saints. Reed spins on a defender, now hands it off for Schumacher. His 9-foot fadeaway floater misses everything. Weak side rebound cleared easily by DeCourcy. And the pace has slowed here from a scoring standpoint anyway for just a moment. He was good on that three ball a moment ago, but Thomas Miles comes up empty that time. That one off the back iron. And here come the Saints. Our first whistle, our first stoppage in play. That is Colton Gorski bodying up on Alex Schumacher. And we'll get our first substitution of the night as well, as Brett Reed will make his way to the bench. And Marky Adams, the 6'9 redshirt senior from Forks, makes his way on the floor, gets an immediate touch, hands it off inside for Thompson, but he's unable to handle the pass, recovers it. Now a three on the way for Kyle Greeley, and he knocks it down. Kyle Greeley with his first look of the night, and he makes the most of it. And the Saints regain the lead at 8-7 as we near the 16.5-minute mark of the first half. The clock is apparently not going to be working for this game, so I'll do my best to give you the time. Down on the Chiron there, the Chiron, whatever it is, it's not working. So I will keep an eye on the time and periodically check in with you with the time on the game clock. Now look at Justice DeCourcy. Hit a couple of layups early in this game. Now he steps out and knocks down the three. At the other end, a three on the way from Tyke Thompson right in front of the Warner Pacific bench, and he buries it. So a three at either end of the floor from a couple of the larger dudes on the court. Now DeCourcy steps back. The mid-range shot will fall as well. Justice DeCourcy, a quick 9 points to start this game for the Knights. Just showing it all off. He's gone inside. He just hit the three, and this time steps back with the 16-foot mid-range floater. So everything just flowing right now for Justice DeCourcy. And Warner Pack will take a 1-point lead into our first media time. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Pretty good up and down action so far in this game, but the story so far anyway, how about Jacob making justice to Corsi for the Knights? Having himself a night. 9 points already in the game's first 4 minutes. Handles here in the high post, guarded by Adams. Spins on him, backs it out, now kicks outside, and it was last touched by the Knights. It falls off the hands of Nigel McKay. Credit Kyle Greeley for sticking a paw out there and disrupting that pass, and McKay just unable to get his hand out of the way. Good stop for the Saints out of the timeout. Good defense by Adams and then by Greeley. Greeley bluffs it a three, now hands it off for Schumacher. He drives, and Warner Pack now showing some zone for the first time here this evening. Thompson with another three in front of the Warner Pacific bench. He hit from there a moment ago and buries another. Alex Schumacher with the steal. Somehow sidesteps the defender, leaves it for Thompson beneath the basket, but he was just in a little bit too deep, and it hits the front of the rim and bounds harmlessly away into the hands of an awaiting Warner Pacific player. So 14-12 our score, under 15 to play. That three looks short, and it is. Misses everything from McKay. Hustle play, saves it back in bounds, earns the Knights an extra possession. And Colton Gorski rewards the Knights for the hustle with the three ball. A three from the Saints from the deep corner. That won't go. Back comes Gorski the other way. Gets all the way to the rack, switches left to right, goes glass, tough angle, won't fall. Saints on the run out. Jaden Nielsen Skinner all the way to the rack, lays it in. And again, you're seeing that end-to-end quickness, that explosion out of the feet of Jaden Nielsen Skinner. That guy can move up and down this floor. Schumacher steps into the passing lane, knocks that one out of bounds, and we'll get wholesale substitutions for the Knights as 5 fresh bodies make their way to the deck. Sitting down for the Saints will be Schumacher and Greeley. Welcome aboard Christian Hafner. And welcome back Brett Reed for the Saints. 5 on the floor for St. Martin's. Christian Hafner, the sharpshooter for the Saints. Looking forward to seeing him get it cranked up from the perimeter. And the Saints now show some zone as well for the first time this evening. So 5 on the floor, Hafner, Nielsen, Skinner, Adams, Reed, and Thompson. Look at the back line of that defense for the Saints, all standing at least 6'7" or taller. Nielsen, Skinner the other way. Dumps it off for Thompson. Drives. Tough pass for Adams. He can't handle it, but Thompson able to track down the errant entry pass. 15 on the shot clock. And about 13 and a half minutes on the game clock. Well, folks, not sure if you can hear us. We have no picture. I wish we had the chat so we could tell you what's going on, so you can tell us whether you can hear me or not. Looks like the video is out. Well, stand by. If you can hear us out there, folks, we'll get back to at least giving you some play-by-play, if nothing else here. Well, I'm getting word that you can, in fact, hear us out there. So if nothing else, I can at least provide some play-by-play. Our score right now, it's 20-18 Warner Pacific. Saints have the ball. Thompson with the entry pass down low for Adams. Turns on his man, faces right up and feathers up. A nice little jump hook up and over the defender. Draws the Saints even. The other way, a long three ball on its way. That one no good, out of the hands of Josiah Castillo. Back come the Saints. It's Tyke Thompson leading the Saints offense, leaves it for Hafner. Now into the high post for Adams. Hafner comes to get it. Double teams collapses on him. Hafner drives all the way to the rack. No good, but right there to clean things up is Brett Reed for the Saints, and they regain the lead at 22-20. 11:45 to play in the first half. 3 ball the other way for Warner Pacific. Castillo good on that one. Look at Jada Williams run the floor. Hafner triggers his first 3 from the deep corner. It won't fall. It was halfway down, popped out. And Warner Pacific back the other way. They are not on the same page there, however. Drew Magaway's pass intended for Josiah Castillo, but he was already on his way to the basket. So, fans, there's 11:19 left in our first half. If you want to hang in there with us, you're certainly more than welcome. We apologize that we don't have a video feed. I'm glad you can hear us out there. We'll take a quick break. 11:19 left in the first half. Warner Pacific with a 23-22 lead. And welcome back inside the black hole that is all of a sudden Marcus Pavilion. Again, we're sorry that we have lost the video feed. We'll try to get that fixed at some point here. I'm glad at least we do have still can bring you some audio of this game. It's Saints basketball as we are back in action. Greeley handles for a moment. Hafner gets it back, looks inside for Schumacher, nothing doing. So Goy Wang on the floor for the first time for the Saints. He handles here. Goy Wang drifts right to left. Jaden Nielsen-Skinner tries a mid-range shot. That won't fall. And Warner Pack at the other end. Miles Brown with a nice move. Gets to the rack, lays it up and in. And Warner Pacific now with a 3-point lead. 10:40 to play here in the first half. Schumacher on the drive. Defender collapses up over the top. Trips him up and sends him sprawling to the deck. That foul whistled against Josiah Castillo. That's his first and the team's third. Yet to have a foul called against St. Martin's here in this game. So 10:38 to play here in the first half. Warner Pack with the lead, but the Saints with the ball. Tough inbounds pass, but Schumacher able to somehow corral it and control it in front of the Warner Pacific bench. A couple of righty dribbles. They reverse it now into the hands of Greeley. Over to Hafner, looking inside. Warner Pacific back in a man-to-man defense now. They've switched it up a couple of times. However, Christian Hafner gets his first points of the night. Nice little pick and roll action. And Warner Pacific just caught, kind of falling asleep on the other side of it. Hafner left all alone. And another steal from Schumacher. Steps in the passing lane, brings it the other way. Tangles with a Warner Pacific defender. Looked like he got fouled. It also looked like the ball rolled out of bounds off of Schumacher, but it will stay with the Saints. 26 seconds on the shot clock. 10:05 left here to play in the first half. 25-24 our score. Looks like we've got the score at least working, even if you don't have the video feed. Schumacher on the drive. One dribbling up. Gets to the rack. Shot won't fall, but he's hammered. Colton Gorski will absorb that foul. That's his second and the fourth on the night. And our first free throws upcoming for Alex Schumacher. We mentioned it in the pregame show. The Saints' top 4 leading scorers in the first 2 games of the season so far, all brand new to this program. Kyle Greeley, Jaden Nielsen-Skinner, Brett Reed, and Christian Hafner lead the team in scoring through the first 2 games of the Saints season. None of them were on campus until earlier this fall. Schumacher good on the first, nails the second as well. Saints regain the lead at 26-25. Exactly 10 minutes left here in the first half. Colton Gorski works his way across the timeline, rolls off the screen. Nielsen Skinner stays with him. They hand it off, and a 3 on its way. And nailed. Nigel McKay stepped into that one, and the lefty 3 ball will fall. 28-26 the score. Back and forth we go. Nielsen Skinner, another explosive move, just accelerating past everyone. Came in here on the near side. Tried to lay it in, would not go. But did draw the foul, and he'll head to the line. So 5 fouls now on Warner Pack. That one whistled against Darius Traylor. That was his first. Jalen Nielsen Skinner, one of 2 transfers from Portland State. It's kind of interesting. And Austin Burns and I were joking about this off camera before tonight's game. So Tyke Thompson, who's been with this program for a couple of years now, redshirted, and then played, after playing 1 season over at South Puget Sound Community College across town here in Olympia, redshirted, joined the Saints program. He's a native of Salem, Oregon, and helped recruit 2 guys that he grew up playing with and against, Kyle Greeley and Jaden Nielsen Skinner, to come play with him at St. Martin's. Both from Portland State, the D1 program in the Big Sky. A lot of contact under the basket. Goy Wang sends Justice DeCourcy to the floor on the layup. And that is the first foul whistled against the Saints tonight. A little confusion over at the scores table for a moment. So DeCourcy steps to the line. 9:15 left in the first half. So 3 kids on this St. Martin's team from Salem, Oregon. All 3 of them in the starting lineup for the Saints tonight as well. Gorski good on the first free throw, bends at the knees. Second one on its way, nearly misses everything, just barely grazes the front of the iron. Thompson there for the rebound for the Saints. Quickly ahead, Hafner with the 3 ball on the way, a little bit too strong. Flying in for the rebound is Nigel McKay for Warner Pacific. The Knights bring it the other way, steering it into the front court as Colton Gorski drives on Thompson, but he's shut down, hemmed in along the baseline. They had Gorski for the post-up for a moment. Instead, they kick it outside for a 3, and Thomas Miles buries it again. Thomas Miles having a nice game. He's got a couple of threes. Now, Tyke Thompson at the other end knocks down his third 3 ball. Between the circles, just squares it up. The first 2 were from directly in front of the Warner Pacific bench, that time from the top of the key. And it draws the Saints back within 5 at 32-30. Tough entry pass. And DeCourcy cannot handle it. The turnover. And the Saints bring it the other way. Schumacher surveys. Leaves it for Wang. A little lackadaisical with the basketball. And Miles makes him pay, brings it the other way, but a shot rejected at the apex. Back come the Saints. Hafner on the drive, dribbles into a double team, shot won't go, but he was fouled by one of those 2 defenders for Warner Pacific that collapsed on him. We'll see who got it. It was assessed to Darius Traylor, so that's his 2nd and the 6th on Warner Pacific. 8:08 left here in the first half, and with each subsequent foul here, the Saints will be shooting free throws. Hafner toes the line. First free throw, steady as she goes. 32-31 our score. What a start that Justice DeCourcy got off to for Warner Pacific in this game. Before we reached our first media timeout, he already had 9 points on the board, and he was doing it from everywhere. He's cooled off a little bit since then, but he does have a team high and game high 10 points for Warner Pacific. It's Tyke Thompson leading the way for the Saints. He's got 9 all from beyond the 3-point line. Both free throws fall, and we're tied once again. Goy Wang with another steal. Just rips that one clean out of the sky. 3-on-1 opportunity for the Saints. Leaves it for Thompson. His 3 well off the mark. Wang after the rebound, but recovered by the Knights, and now they're on the run out with numbers. 3 on the way, and good. Nigel McKay. Knocks down that three. Now Wang will try from three in front of the Warner Pacific bench, and he knocks that one down. Oh, my goodness, folks, I'm so sorry you don't have video evidence of this, but this is really turning into a spectacular game. 7.5 minutes left here in the first half. McKay goes to work. Tyke Thompson switches out on him. Wheels around, hoists up a 17-footer. It will not fall. Schumacher the other way for the Saints. Goy drifts to the corner. They reverse it back to Schumacher. Now he's on the drive. Couple of lefty dribbles. Gets to the rack, lays it up, won't fall. DeCourcy the rebound for Warner Pacific. And the Knights will slow things down. Just under 7 minutes to play now. As Thomas Miles sort of sachets across the timeline. Now it's Darius Traylor accelerating to the rack. Shot won't fall, and he's the last to touch it, and it rolls out of bounds. It will be Saints basketball when we return. 6:47 to play. We're all knotted up at 35 apiece. Well, welcome back in, folks, and we are still working on getting the video feed working for you. Thanks for bearing with us. Looks like we've got 75 of you out there still tuned in. Really appreciate you hanging in there with us. Our score, we are tied at 35. 6:45 to play. It is Saints basketball as we rejoin the action on the floor. Saints moving right to left. And a foul away from the ball as Marky Adams winds up sprawled across the floor, well away from the ball. And this will be a foul on DeCourcy. That's his first, but it is the 7th, and it will send Marky Adams to the line for a 1-on-1 opportunity. 7 fouls now for the Knights, just one whistled against the Saints. 6:39 to play here in the first half. 8 different Saints have seen the floor. All of them have scored at least 2 points in this game. Adams now with 3 on the night as he makes the front end and earns the bonus. In so doing, he also gives the Saints back the lead. We've had a number of lead changes in this game. Largest lead for either team. Warner Pacific had a 5-point lead at one point. Adams unable to convert on the bonus, so it's a 1-point game. 6:35 to play. Thomas Miles. As the Saints now in a 1-3-1 with Schumacher at the top of this zone. On the drive, this is Darius Traylor. A foul on the floor, whistled against Christian Hafner of the Saints. That's his first. A 5 on the floor for St. Martin's. Schumacher, Hafner, Reed, Adams, and Greeley. Inbounds triggered from along the baseline. 17 on the shot clock. Here's DeCourcy. Goes to work on Adams. Bluffs one way, spins back the other. Shot won't fall. Rebound Kyle Greeley of St. Martin's. He'll bring it the other way for the Saints. Now Adams down low. Kicks it outside. Hafner looks at a 3. Now steps back. Feathers a pass into the high post for Reed. Reed spins one way, goes back the other. Now kicks to the corner for Hafner. He'll try for 3 and knock it down. Christian Hafner. This is a guy who can absolutely stroke it from deep. This guy has a fluid shot, gets it off quick, and it is deadly when he gets flowing. I'll tell you what. He's going to be fun to watch this year. And a turnover at the other end. That 1-3-1 continues to stymie Warner Pacific to a certain degree. It's Alex Schumacher on the run out, takes the pass from Hafner, gets to the rack, lays it in. And the Saints now with their biggest lead of the game at 41-35. And it necessitates a timeout from Knights head coach Jermaine Potts. So 5:40 to play. This is a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here. This one defense that St. Martin's has switched to has really worked pretty well. Schumacher has forced a couple of turnovers. There was another one just now as the Knights tried to force a pass into the high post. It was picked off almost by two Saints defenders that just beat the ball to the spot. And it resulted in a transition layup for St. Martin's. And the Saints on a nice little run. They now lead at 41-35. How about this? Both teams shooting 56% from the floor. That's bonkers. Warner Pack 13 of 22, good for 56.5%. The Saints 14 of 25, exactly 56%. And both of them tearing it up from three as well. Warner Pack 8 for 12 from distance, 67%. The Saints 7 for 11 out there. Incredible offensive efficiency so far in the first 14 and a half minutes of this game. We are at the 5.5-minute mark. Saints now in more of a 2-3 zone look. That was Christian Hodge handling in the high post a moment ago. Up 10 on the shot clock. Between the circles, it's Drew Magaway. He drives. Mid-range shot won't fall. Kyle Greeley taps the rebound into the hands of Alex Schumacher, and the Saints bring it the other way. No look pass to the corner for Hafner. Now he's on the drive. Kicks to Adams, but hits the basket, raises, and just lays it in. I thought Markey was going to punch it right there. Instead, just lays it in. But the Saints now with an 8-point lead, just under 5 to play. 43-35 our score. Saints really starting to turn on the gas here. Everything flowing at the offensive end for St. Martin's. Miles Brown on the drive. Winds up drifting down to the baseline and hoists a fall-away 12-footer. It'll fall. Not a high percentage shot out of Miles Brown, but he gets it to go. And it stems the tide, at least for the moment, for the Knights. They now trail by 6, 43-37. Greeley switches left to right, reverses it to Schumacher. Now down low for Brett Reed. He goes to work on Miles Brown. Spins right around him and gets to the rack and lays it in. What a good-looking mood for Brett Reed. And St. Martin's lead now back to 8, 45-37, 4:05 to play in the first half. Impressive half of basketball for both teams, but the Saints have really put it all together here in about those last 3 or 4 minutes. I don't know if they've missed in that stretch. Brown, another mid-range shot. That one halfway down, pops out and goes right back down the cylinder. So back-to-back buckets for Miles Brown, his first couple of scores of the game. And Warner Pack draws back within 6, 45-39, 3:37 to play. Hafner looking inside for Adams, nothing doing. Now Reed comes to get it in the high post. Now Greeley handles. Adam gets it down on the low block. Skip pass back to Hafner. Drives, hands it off for Reed inside. Double clutch inside, lays it up and in, and he draws the foul. How about Brett Reed going to work? Man, oh man, the Saints just suddenly can't miss. Folks, I hope we get this video going at some point so that you can see what you're hearing. But the Saints really and truly playing one of the most brilliant stretches of basketball in recent memory. And they will take an 8-point lead into our final media timeout. 3:22 left to play in the first half. The Saints lead it 47-39. Welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Fans, if you're just now joining us, we don't have video, but sadly, we do have audio. You're stuck with me, just me, no pictures, just the sound of my ridiculous voice. It is Reed on his way to the free throw line for the and one. Leaves it short, so our score sits at 47-39, 3:15 to play here in the first half. If you are just joining us, the Saints are on a scalding, just scorching hot tear over the last 4 or 5 minutes of this game. Now shooting over 60% here in the first half. Warner Pack, no slouches themselves, still shooting 58% for this game. Miles Brown was feeling it. He had hit on back-to-back shots, but that time he steps out for three and airballs it. And back come the Saints. Probably not the play that head coach Jermaine Potts drew up during that timeout. Greeley in the lane, stops, pops, and finishes. And the Saints now with their first double-digit lead of this game. Kyle Greeley with the mid-range jumper. That will fall. And the Saints now 49-39 the lead. Working his way all the way to the rack, Drew Magaway. Nice-looking drive there. Finishes with the right hand, goes glass, lays it in. And Schumacher travels at the other end. Scarcely any turnovers in this game. That just the third turnover of the first half for St. Martin's. But Aaron Landon, perhaps sensing a little bit of a lull, wants to nip it in the bud. He'll call a quick 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here. So again, we apologize that we do not have video images to bring you here this evening. We will try to get that fixed at halftime if we can. Taking another quick look at the numbers. Look at the Saints, 62% shooting from the floor. Warner Pacific right behind him at 57%. How often does a team shoot 57% from the floor, 61% from deep? The Knights have connected on 8 of 13 three-pointers in the first half, yet they look up at that scoreboard and they've got to be thinking to themselves, how in the world do we trail this game by 8 when we're shooting this well? They just have not been able to slow the offensive flow for the Saints here over the last few minutes, although the Saints did just hit a snag a moment ago. Now the Saints drop back into the 2-3 zone. Saints have mixed up their defensive looks throughout this game, and it's worked very well for them. Now they kind of slide back into the 1-3-1. Schumacher at the top. Here's Brown well away from the basket with the shot clock winding down. Starts his move, loses control of the ball, now hands it off for Magaway. Pulls up from 18 and knocks it down. Wow. That possession just breaking down all over the floor for the Knights, but Magaway, give him credit, composed himself and knocks down the long jumper and pulls the Knights back within 6. 1:40 to play here in the first half. Greeley rolls off the high screen from his old buddy in Salem, Tyke Thompson. Now they hand it back. This is Schumacher. Steps back between the circles out near midcourt. Reed comes out to set the screen. Has his pocket nearly picked clean. Instead, Drew Magaway called for the foul. Wags a finger at Schumacher for a moment there. Oh, I take it back. They called an offensive foul on Brett Reed. An illegal screen, apparently. So hold everything. I did, in fact, think that was a clean steal, and the whistle was, in fact, against the Saints. So the third foul on the Saints gives it back to Warner Pacific. Just under 1:20 to play. Warner Pacific now trying to get back within. They're well within shouting distance here. Good-looking drive, but the floater won't fall. But there to clean things up beneath the basket is Christian Hodge. So a nice little 6-0 run for Warner Pacific over the last minute and a half of this game. And just like that, the Knights right back in this thing, 49-45. They were, of course, never out of it. The Saints were rolling. And they have started to cool off just enough to allow Warner Pacific right back into this contest. 49-45, 45 seconds to go, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Schumacher kicks to the corner. Hafner raises for three. Got it! Christian Hafner buries the three from the deep corner. And a lead back to 7. Warner Pack, I thought they might try to hustle it up and go 2 for 1 for a moment there. Instead, they drop back into their offense. And a long three up over the top of the zone. That one no good. Thompson, the weak side rebound for the Saints, and they can hold for the final shot of the first half if they want. Instead, Hafner tries a three from the other side. That one halfway down and pops out. And a foul on the floor whistled against Reed. That's going to be his second. of the game, the fourth on the Saints. The Saints have fouls to give here for the last 15 seconds or so of this first half if they want to use them. Reed will head to the bench so that he does not pick up a costly third foul. Adams back on the floor in Reed's spot. So the 5 on the floor for the Saints. Schumacher, Thompson, Greeley, Hafner, and Adams. 14.7 seconds. The Saints with 2 fouls to give if they want. On the drive along the baseline, it's Caleb Tompkins. Kicks to the corner, 3 on the way, no good. Adams after the rebound. Instead, it's Greeley who rips it away. They can get a shot off if they hurry. Greeley pulls up from 35. It's on its way, just short. 52-45 is our halftime score. What a great half of basketball it was. So, folks, give us a moment here. We'll definitely try to get video images back up online here. If not, we hope that you'll stick around for the second half of the audio broadcast. It's kind of like listening to the radio. Remember the radio? Remember when college basketball was on the radio? Well, we're kind of throwing it back to those days here tonight here in Marcus Pavilion. And for those of you still dialed in with us tonight, really appreciate you hanging out with us. It's been a great half of basketball. Can't wait to see what the second half has in store. Again, our score at halftime, 52-45. The Saints with a 7-point lead. Rejoin us in about 12 minutes' time for a look at first half stats and a look ahead to second half action between the Saints and the Knights on the GNAC Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Our halftime score, St. Martin's 52 and Warner Pacific 45. And folks, as you can see, we have video pictures back online for you. So, we are about 2.5 minutes away. We still don't have the game clock running on screen, so again, we'll do my best to keep that going for you here in the second half. But before we get our sights set on second half action, let's take a quick look back at first half stats. How about for the Knights? They wound up shooting 55% from the floor, 53% from deep. Leading the way, it was Justice DeCourcy, his 10 points. Most of them scored in the opening moments of the game. Remember, he had 9 points in the game's first 3.5 minutes, just a point thereafter. Did wind up as the lone scorer in double figures for Warner Pacific in the first 20 minutes. Right behind him, it's 9 points, for Miles Brown. He came off the bench late in the first half, but notched 9 big points for the Knights. 6 points on the night so far for Nigel McKay. Another 6 points as well for Thomas Miles. Again, 8 for 15 from 3, 18 of 32 from the floor. Yet the Knights trail by 7. They had 8 turnovers in the first half. No one in real foul trouble. Gorski's got 2, and Traylor's got 2. Nobody else with more than 1, so no real foul trouble to speak of for the Knights heading into the second half. They wound up with 16 rebounds in the first 20 minutes of play. Bunch of dudes with 3 boards apiece to pace the team. 13 assists, however, on those 18 made baskets for the Saints. Well, those were some impressive numbers for sure on the Saints side of the ledger. I think you can almost call these numbers staggering. 61% from the floor on 19 of 31 shooting. 61% as well from the three-point line. 8 of 13 from deep. The Saints also with a sizable advantage. They went 6 of 10 from the free throw line, just 1 for 2 for the Knights in the first half. They had 15 rebounds, make it 13 rebounds of their own, but they did have 15 assists on those 19 made baskets. That's a marked departure from the Saints' first couple of games. You go back and look at how many assists they had in those first 2 games, and they just weren't helping out a lot on those shots. A lot more one-on-one ball in those first 2 games for St. Martin's. They split those 2 games to open the season. Remember, they are 1-1 on the season. Warner Pacific 2-2 so far. This is an exhibition for the Knights, so no matter what happens tonight on the floor, Warner Pacific's going to walk out of here with a record unchanged at 2-2. The Saints will move to 2-1 or 1-2 as we are just about ready for second half action. It was Christian Hafner leading the way. He's the only Saints player in double figures. He's got 10, 9 points for Tyke Thompson, 8 for Brett Reed, 7 points as well for Alex Schumacher. And Jaden Nielsen-Skinner and Marky Adams with 5 points apiece for the Saints. It will be Warner Pacific basketball inbounding right in front of us up top here. This is Darius Traylor to trigger the inbound. We are underway here in the second half. Knights now moving right to left on your radio dial. Not really so much a radio dial now that we've got video back. Certainly good to have video back for the second half of this game. It was a beautifully played game. And speaking of beautifully played basketball, how about Greeley rising up for the block to get things started for the Saints at defensive end? Thompson thinks about a 3, now into the corner. Inside it goes for Brett Reed. Spins around a defender, uses the rim, goes up and under, and lays it home with a right hand from beneath the basket. And the Saints extend the lead back to 9, 54-45, 19-20 to play. What a move from Brett Reed. Man, I'm excited to watch him play all season long for the Saints as well. I'm loving what I've seen out of these newcomers thus far. Nielsen-Skinner guards McKay here very closely. Now McKay starts his drive, a few lefty dribbles, gets all the way around Nielsen-Skinner. That's saying something. And then gets his shot up and over Brett Reed. That's saying something else. So a great drive right there from Nigel McKay. And it gets Warner Pacific's first couple of points on the board here in the second half. Thompson handles high above his head. Now finds the streaking Alex Schumacher. Gets to the rack, lays it in, lays it up and in. Won't fall. Now Thompson for 3. And he knocks it down. The 4th 3-ball of the night for Tyke Thompson. Give him 12 points now on the night. And the Saints now back to a double-digit lead at 57-47 with a minute and a half gone by in the second half. Colton Gorski strolls his way into the front court. Now hands it off for Thomas Miles. Down low, they try to get a pass inside for Justice Corsi, who was diving to the rack, but that pass picked off. Back come the Saints. Thompson looks inside now, triggers from deep. Just a little bit too strong. Nigel McKay the other way for Warner Pacific. Sets up between the circles, rolls off the high screen. Jaden Nielsen Skinner fights through that. DeCourcy looks inside. Now sends it back up top into the hands of Colton Gorski. 13 on the shot clock. Gorski pulls up from three. Got it. Wow. Dead-eye shot from Colton Gorski. And it draws the Knights back within 7. 57-50, 17-40 to play. Nielsen Skinner on the drive. Beautiful no-look pass inside and sets up Reed, who does the rest. Brett Reed now in double figures for the Saints. How about that drive and dish from Jaden Nielsen Skinner? Wow, I love the new look Saints. Love them already. My goodness. This is going to be an exciting season. The Saints are going to sneak up on people this year. I have no doubt about it. At the other end, however, Thomas Miles walks into a 17-footer and drains that. And a whistle on the floor, and I think Aaron Landon wants a quick chat with his dudes. And I believe that should stretch to a full timeout. So we will take it with him. 59-52 our score, 17-16 to play here in the second half. (59-52) our score, 17-16 left in this thing. Kind of a developing storyline that I haven't had much of a chance to touch on just yet, and I guess I was kind of waiting to see if either of these two players was going to be on the floor for the Knights in the second half. The two guys that we spotlighted in our pregame show when we gave our pregame preview of Warner Pacific are Isaac Eider and Tyrese Yusuf Willis, the two leading scorers for the Knights coming into tonight's contest. Neither of them is dressed this evening. I don't know if that's injury-related or what, but for whatever reason, the top two scorers on this Warner Pacific team through the team's first 4 games, neither of them dressed. They are both at the end of the bench for Warner Pacific. So likely won't be suiting up at any point in this contest. So Warner Pacific playing without its two leading scorers here in this game. Did not have a chance to chat with the coaching staff before the game, so did not realize that we would not see those two guys in uniform for the Knights here this evening. As we return to action on the floor, Greeley bluffs one way, now hands it off to Tyke Thompson the other. Thompson steers it back up toward the top. Now gets it back out on the wing, near side here. 12 on the shot clock. Goy Wang handles. Ball above his head, kicks to the corner for Hafner. Down low it goes, into the hands of Greeley. Backs down his defender. 11-foot shot on the way, rolls around, and bangs out. Rebound covered up by Colton Gorski. He brings it the other way for Warner Pacific. Nigel McKay accelerates, gets all the way to the rack, lays it up and in. So Nigel McKay starting to show out here in the second half. That's twice. He started from well away from the basket, put the ball on the deck, and gotten all the way to the rim and finished for the Knights. And just like that, a 5-point game, 59-54. Kyle Greeley triggers from deep, and he knocks it down. Man, if the Saints have the answer just about every single time Warner Pacific has started to wrest momentum back away from St. Martin's in this game. Here comes the Saint to knock down a clutch shot. This time it's Kyle Greeley squaring one up from deep, and it's back to an 8-point game. McKay pulls up from 3 in front of Goy Wang. That one well short. Rebound Hafner. And here come the Saints in transition. Hafner on the drive. Couple of righty dribbles. Gets to the rack. Lays it up. No good. Rebound McKay, Warner Pacific. Clears the timeline with it. Saints get back. Straight man-to-man defense for the Saints pretty much thus far here in the second half. Thomas Miles works his way around Thompson, leaves it off with a beautiful bounce pass inside. Darius Traylor there to finish things off. Goi Wang in transition. Leaves the shot short. Another rebound for Nigel McKay. He's starting to pile them up. Brings it the other way. His shot altered by Goi Wang. Look at him almost to the top of the circle to get that one. Hafner the other way. Knocks down the three in front of his own bench. And it's back to a 9-point game. Frenetic action here in Marcus Pavilion in the last couple of moments. These teams just racing up and down the floor. And it's Hafner with just enough space to get that three off. Again, just an absolutely devastating shooter when he gets hot. Look out. He's pretty much hot by the time he walks in the door. Can hit from pretty much any spot on the floor. Double team down low, and it works. Hafner picks off the pass that was deflected by the Saints defense. No look down low for Wang. Kicks it back out for three. And that one won't fall for Thompson, a loose ball foul. Whistled against Kyle Greeley for St. Martin's. That's our first foul on either team here in the second half. And I believe it'll bring us to a stoppage and play, and it does. 14:21 to play in this contest. The Saints with a 9-point lead against Warner Pacific. So 3 different Saints players now in double figures. Leading the way, it's Christian Hafner, 13 points on the night thus far. He's 3 for 6 from beyond the arc. Joined in double figures by the newcomer Brett Reed, the fellow newcomer, I should say. He's got 12 points on 6 of 7 shooting, pretty much everything coming right around the basket for Brett Reed. Tyke Thompson with 12 points of his own. He's 4 for 8 from the floor, 4 for 7 from 3. So all 12 of Tyke Thompson's dozen points coming from beyond the arc. Warner Pack ball as we rejoin the action. Back to this man-to-man defense that has worked pretty effectively for the Saints here in the second half. On the drive, it's Castillo. Pulls up and drains one from 12 feet. Tough angled. But he's strong, gets it to go. 7-point game, just under 14 to play. Greeley handles here on the near side. Dumps it off for his former Portland State teammate, Nielsen Skinner. Now Goi Wang, a hesitation move, crosses over, gets to the rack, lays it up. Double clutch midair, and Goi Wang just showing off on that possession. My goodness, what a move. The crossover dribble, the double clutch, and the finish from Goi Wang. Everybody got it going here tonight so far for the Saints. Marky Adams with a rejection off the backboard at the other end. Into the hands of Greeley. He races out. Warner Pack back on D. Nielsen Skinner will reset the offense for the Saints. Both teams basically just playing man-to-man straight up, at least to start the first 7 minutes of the half as we move it to the 13-minute mark. 12 on the shot clock. Nielsen Skinner just pacing back and forth. Now dumps it off for Wang near the baseline. Inside for Adams. Turns, shot, good. And the Saints now with an 11-point lead, their largest of the night as we move under 13 minutes, about 12:50 to play here in our contest. The Saints have had a double-digit lead a couple of times, but 11 their largest so far. Caleb Tompkins on the drive. Cut off, spins off of the defender. Shot won't fall. Rebound, Greeley for St. Martin's. This one counts for the Saints, does not count for the Knights. Hafner back to Wang, thinks about a three, pulls the trigger. It's a little long. Falls softly off the back iron, and Castillo on the run out. Gets caught in midair and is called for the offensive foul. I didn't see a lot of contact there. I'm not wild about that call. I'll take it as the hometown announcer here, but I didn't see enough there to merit that call. Nevertheless, it's Saints basketball, and we'll get a couple of subs for the Saints. The Saints go with a bigger lineup now on the floor. Greeley, Reed, and Adams along with Goy Wang, so four guys at least 6'5" or taller out on the floor, along with Alex Schumacher, who will play the point, while Jalen Nielsen-Skinner gets a break over on the bench. Up top it comes for Brett Reed. He hands it off for Greeley, and a three in the key, I believe, called. No, a foul on Warner Pacific. So Miles Brown getting a little handsy. Opposite Marky Adams down in the post. That's the second foul on Warner Pacific. Just one foul called thus far on the Saints here in the second frame. 12:06 to play. Schumacher to inbound for St. Martin's. It comes to Adams. Wang comes to get it. Instead, it's a pass batted into the hands of Schumacher. 13 on the shot clock. Schumacher out near the timeline. Now drives, hesitates, pulls it back out. And he'll pull up from the elbow extended and drain it. Alex Schumacher. Nothing quite working out for the Saints on that possession except for that shot. Alex Schumacher showing off the mid-range game, and it's now a 13-point lead for the Saints. 71-58, 11:36 to play. Long three on the way. That one cast from well beyond the arc. It won't fall for Drew Magaway, and back come the Saints. Beautiful hesitation move from Schumacher. Foul on the floor on the drive. And that will bring us to a stoppage in play. 11:27 left in the contest. The Saints with their biggest lead thus far of the night at 71-58. So 71-58 our score, 11:27 left to play. I got to hand it to this Warner Pacific team. They are playing without their two leading scorers to their first four games on the season. Neither Isaac Eider nor Tyrese Yusuf Willis available for tonight's game. Yet they continue to play very well against St. Martin's. They're shooting 52% from the floor, 47% from three. They do trail by 13, but they are playing very efficient basketball without their two leading scorers. And 10 different guys have already played at least 10 minutes here for Warner Pacific. Saints earn the extra possession after the offensive rebound. Greeley here on the near side. Into the high post for Reed. They look down low for Adams. He's going to have to hustle. Double team comes. He's stripped for the moment. Now able to muscle up a shot, and it falls! Marky Adams. The Saints have just got everything flowing this tonight. They just cannot miss. Oh, my gosh, I wish y'all could have seen that 5-minute stretch when the Saints, I don't think, missed a shot for about 11 straight possessions. Doesn't mean they got a shot off every single possession, but they were absolutely dead-eye red hot for a long time, for a long stretch of that first half. It cooled off toward the end of the half, but they have picked up right where they've left off. They're on pace to put up a C note here this evening. A 3-ball good a moment ago for Warner Pacific draws them back within 12 at 73-61. And now we're going to get our first look on the night at the other big man newcomer for the Saints. But before we get to that, how about that up and under dazzling move from Alex Schumacher? At the other end, a long three on the way, and that one's connected by Miles Brown. Miles Brown in double figures for Warner Pacific. They are hanging around 75-64, nearing the halfway point of the second half. That big man I was talking about a moment ago, Veljko Ilić, the Serbian national, who makes his way to St. Martin's by way of Utah State Eastern University, where he was a teammate of Christian Hafner, another of the Saints newcomers. Saints now in a 2-3 zone after the bucket made, and the lead back to 13 at 77-64. As good as Warner Pack has shot it tonight, and there's another basket for the Knights. Justice DeCourcy. Excuse me, that was Christian Hodge on that one. The Saints have shot it that much better. They're at 60% from the floor for this game. And an offensive foul whistled against Veljko Ilić. That's just the second foul so far on the Saints. So 77-66 our score, 9:26 to play. Warner Pacific with possession. Drew Magawai walks it across the timeline. Hands it off for Tompkins, but that pass picked off. Here comes Greeley. Saints have numbers. Greeley backs it out, now hands it off to the man diving, trailing the play. It's Reed, able to gather. Took him a moment to get set beneath the basket, but stayed composed, knocked it home. 79-66, exactly 9 minutes to play. Drew Magaway steers this dribble over toward his own bench. Castillo thinks about a three, hands it back to Magaway. That pass knocked out of bounds, but off of a Warner Pacific player into the Knights bench. And the turnover gives it right back to St. Martin's. As good as they've been at the offensive end, they've been nearly as good at the defensive end as well. Just disrupting passes, deflecting passes, forcing turnovers. More than anything, the Saints have taken such great care of the basketball tonight. Just 7 turnovers here in this game. As we are under 9 minutes to play, Saints with just a masterful offensive performance here so far tonight. Thompson handles in front of the Saints bench. Reverses it to Schumacher. They look down low for the moment. Instead, now it's in the high post for Brett Reed. Nielsen. Skinner comes to get it. Nicknamed Skinny. Drifts to the baseline. Fires up a floater. Won't fall. Reed there to clean it up, and he knocks it home. My goodness, Brett Reed. He's been feeling it throughout this game. And I believe he's now got a team high. Yes, he does. 16 points on 8 of 9 shooting from the floor. Back to a 15-point advantage for the Saints. Trailer on the drive. Pulls up in front of the defender. A little bit too strong. Strong rebound ripped out of there by Schumacher, and back he comes the other way. Reed trailing in the high post. Now kicks to the corner for Thompson. Defended there by DeCourcy. They drop it off for Reed. He's got the mismatch on McKay. Couple of dribbles. Fakes left, goes right. Shot won't fall. Brett Reed is human after all. He'll miss a shot every once in a while. He's just 8 of 10 from the floor now. Into the high post it goes for Gorski at the Knights end. Beneath the basket all by himself. Good pass inside to set him up from DeCourcy. He's fouled over the top was Darius Traylor, and he will be at the line to shoot 2 once we return. 7:35 left in our ball game. Saints 81, Knights 66 on the GNAC Digital Network. St. Martin's 81, Warner Pacific 66. Again, it bears worth repeating. Warner Pacific has played very, very well at the offensive end of the floor. They continue to shoot the absolute daylights out of the basketball. 54% from the floor, 52% from three. Yet they trail by 15 points in this game. And remember, they're doing this without their two leading scorers, neither Isaac Eider nor Taisif Yusuf Willis available, both of them in their civvies at the end of the night's bench here tonight. They have fought gallantly, though, throughout this contest. 7:35 to play. This is Darius Traylor at the line. He is unable to connect on the first of two free throws. Warner Pacific, a team with a lot of proud tradition. They got a new head coach, Jermaine Potts, similar to G.C. Hilburn, who we had last night coaching for Pacific Lutheran University against the Saints women's basketball team. His only head coaching experience came during the pandemic-shortened season of Warner Pacific playing 13 games, finishing 5-8 in those 13. Christian Hafner at the other end, and the lead's starting to build. And this game's starting to get away from Warner Pacific a little bit as Hafner connects on another three. Warner Pacific, though, 11 trips to the NAIA National Tournament in 15 years, including 8 in a row at one point. So this is a program, they are no slouch down there. All the way! Look at Jaden Nielsen Skinner get loose from one end of the floor to the other. Warner Pacific just kind of letting their guard down just enough. Their shoulders starting to slouch just a little bit as they now look up at a 19-point deficit with 6:40 to play in this contest. It's a good Knights team, though. They've got a good future ahead of them, especially once they get Eider and Yusuf Hawkins back in the rotation. As DeCourcy knocks down the three. That makes it 86-70. 6:20 to play. Hafner handles above the head. Down low it goes into the hands of Illich. His shot a little bit short. Rebound batted around for a moment. Winds up in the hands of Nigel McKay. And now Miles handles. Gorski with it, guarded by Nielsen Skinner. Shifts it left to right. Spins back the other direction. Dumps it off for Miles. DeCourcy bluffs at a three. Now a three on its way. Left well short, but tracked down in the corner by Traylor. He'll fire from there. That one pops halfway down, but right back out. Schumacher can't control it. And possession will stay with the Knights with 20 seconds on the shot clock. So Illich will make his way back to the bench, as will Tyke Thompson back on for the Saints. Come Reed and Greeley. A couple of the guys leading the way for St. Martin's tonight. Now with 4 players in double figures. Reed with 18, Hafner with 16, 12 for Thompson, 11 for Schumacher. Several other guys, in fact, everybody that's seen the floor besides Illich has scored. A couple of Saints wrestle for the rebound. It's Reed who comes down with it. Ahead now to Schumacher. He'll pull up for an early three. Leaves it short. Rebound. Reed is there, but taken down and controlled by Traylor, and a loose ball foul whistled against St. Martin's. 5.5 minutes to play. Saints with a comfortable 16-point lead. Got to feel good about this St. Martin's team. This is a new-look team, folks. This is not the Saints of last season by any stretch of the imagination. All these newcomers and all of them contributing right away. Well, a handful of them anyway. Oh, that block looked clean from Greeley. He's whistled for the foul. It will send Thomas Miles to the line for Warner Pacific. 5:18 to play now. 4 out of 5 starters on the floor currently for St. Martin's. Schumacher, Nielsen Skinner, Reed, who started his first game tonight. It had been Marky Adams in the starting lineup for the Saints for the first 2 games, but Reed gets the starting nod tonight. Kyle Greeley, and then Christian Hafner, the first man off the bench tonight for the Saints, who has really been heating up from deep. Both he and Tyke Thompson, 4 for 7 from beyond the three-point arc for St. Martin's. Lead now at 14 after Miles connects on both free throws. Greeley hocked closely up top, picks up his dribble, now leaves it for Hafner. Hafner guarded by trailer. Schumacher now starts his drive, kicks it. Greeley gets into the paint, gets all the way to the rack, lays it up and in. What a move! The leaner will fall for Kyle Greeley. 88-72, just an absolutely stalwart and sterling offensive performance from the Saints here tonight. Thomas Miles slams on the brakes, kicks it out for a three. That won't go. Rebound, St. Martin's. 4.5 minutes to play. No looks. Bounce pass for Schumacher sets him up for a wide open look at a three. It won't fall. Thomas Miles spins around him, but the ball thrown out of bounds. That pass just too far ahead. No one there to connect on it. And a careless turnover for Warner Pacific gives it right back to St. Martin's. That's the kind of mistake you can't make when every possession counts. Time now very much a factor. 4:15 to play. Saints lead it by 16, 88-72. Greeley hesitates, accelerates, gets to the baseline, puts up a 12-footer. It goes, but a foul whistled on the floor before the shot. So Saints ball out of bounds as that was just the fourth foul whistled against the Knights in the second half. 5 on the Saints, 4 on Warner Pacific, and no one from either team in any foul trouble at all. One player with 3, that's Castillo. 4 Warner Pacific. No one else has more than 2 for either team. Another whistle away from the ball. And another foul on the floor. So 5 fouls apiece here in the second half. Nielsen Skinner finds Hafner off the inbound. They look inside for Reed. Comes out to get it, pushed off his spot, and he'll be whistled for the offensive foul. Credit Justice to Corsi. He did a nice job of playing that one up. Not quite sure that Reed sent him sprawling quite that far. But nevertheless, offensive foul on the Saints, and it will be Warner Pacific basketball once we return. We're just under 4 minutes to play, 3:59 to be exact, and the Saints maintain that 16-point lead. The Saints with a 16-point lead for the game's final 3:59. Here we go. The balance of this game very much in doubt, but the lead comfortable for St. Martin's as we are very much in the stretch run. Here's one stat that jumps out right away for St. Martin's at this point in this game. They've got 22 assists on 35 made baskets. Contrast that against 24 assists in the Saints' first 2 games, so nearly as many assists tonight as they had in their first 2 games combined. That's a very encouraging statistic for head coach Aaron Landon and this Saints ball club. Doing a really nice job moving the ball around. At least 3 guys with 4 assists in this game. DeCourcy with a nice move down low on Reed. Gets him to commit one way, spins him around the other, and knocks it home. Justice DeCourcy has played very well tonight. Remember, he came out just blazing hot in the game's first few possessions. Beautiful hesitation move from Nielsen Skinner. Sets up Greeley, his former teammate at Portland State and hometown buddy from Salem, Oregon. Greeley hammered as he went up for that shot. He heads to the line. That foul earned by Nigel McKay. That's his second and the 6th on the night. So a moment ago, the Knights were sitting on 3 fouls. That's the 6th, so the Saints will shoot free throws the rest of the way, starting with these 2 from Kyle Greeley. Tees up and knocks down the first. Colton Gorski back on the floor, and Thomas Miles will get a blow. And Greeley good on the second. Lead back to 16, 90-74, 3:22 left in our ball game. Saints pick up backcourt. A little bit of token pressure applied to Gorski by Schumacher. Stays with him as he crosses the timeline. Picks up his dribble between the circles, hands it off for DeCourcy, guarded out here on the near side by Brett Reed. Reed shuts him off along the baseline, but DeCourcy continues to back him down, spins to his right, goes to his left, lays it up and in. Another great-looking move from Justice DeCourcy. Gotta like his footwork and composure down there on the blocks. Greeley for three the other way in front of his own bench, and he knocks it down. And the hot shooting just continues for the Saints. They refuse to cool off. 93-76 the score. Saints still shooting close to 60% from the floor for this contest. 2.5 minutes to play. Traylor on the drive. Gets to the rack with ease. Can't finish. And Greeley there for the rebound for the Saints. He'll slowly walk it across the timeline. Guarded by Traylor. Now Hafner. 15 on the shot clock as he steers it left to right. Leaves it for Reed. Reverse it into the hands to Schumacher here on the near side. Brett Reed backs his defender down. The refs not buying it that time from DeCourcy. As Reed just clears him out. Knocks it home. And our score 95-76 as Brett Reed will take a seat, likely for the rest of the night. 2:05 to play. Marky Adams replaces him on the floor. What a great game it's been for Brett Reed. 20 points now, 6 rebounds, and just 23 minutes of action. Incredible. First performance inside Marcus Pavilion for the newcomer, Brett Reed. Man, really like what we've seen out of him tonight. Nigel McKay on the drive. Marky Adams meets him at the apex and swats it out of the sky. Then he's dispossessed beneath the basket. Ball rolls out of bounds, last touch by the Saints, but Marky Adams puts another block on his stat sheet. 1:49 to play. This one all but decided. DeCourcy handles the inbound. Couple of jab steps, now drives on Adams, tries to get around him. Uses the rim for protection, and once again, it's Justice DeCourcy. He's had a very good ball game, particularly at the bookends of this game, both at its outset and in its closing moments here in the second half. 1.5 minutes left now. Saints by 17. Nielsen Skinner handles up top. Rolls off the Adams screen, accelerates, gets all the way to the basket. High off the glass, shot won't fall. And DeCourcy brings it the other way for the Knights. DeCourcy trying to go all the way, and he's charged, called for the offensive foul. Lost control of his dribble, had it knocked out of bounds, but then just trucked the stationary Saints defender. He's called for the offensive foul. 1:13 left in this game, and the Saints are going to lodge a victory here in their home opener tonight. They won't be home for a while after this. Remember, they are on the road until after Thanksgiving. Won't be back home until the first weekend in December when they open GNAC play. I believe those dates are Friday, December 3rd and Saturday the 4th. Or make it Thursday and Saturday. The usual GNAC schedule, Thursday, Saturday, not Friday, Saturday, excuse me. Schumacher fouled on his way to the rack. 59.9 seconds left in this game, and Alex Schumacher heading to the line. So with time winding down, it's very likely we're going to have two teams both finish with better than 50% shooting from the floor. Warner Pacific right now sitting at 51.7 for the game. Saints at 58.7 for the game. 5 players in double figures for St. Martin's. Reed with 20. Hafner with 16. Greeley with 15. And Schumacher and Thompson, after Schumacher knocked down those free throws, with 12 apiece. 97-78, 51 seconds to play. Gorski stands there motionless. Now starts to dribble. Pounds the ball into the floor. Hands it off for DeCourcy. Bluffs it a 3. Now Castillo will trigger from deep. No good. Rebound rolls off the foot of Colton Gorski. Will keep it at the Warner Pacific end. The 6th foul whistled against St. Martin's gives it back to the Knights out of bounds. So very impressive victory here for the Saints, but it can't be said enough how good Warner Pacific looked at the offensive end of the floor. I'm sure the important thing for head coach Jermaine Potts is that they didn't defend particularly well. After all, the Saints did just start hot and never cooled off really for any part of this game to any considerable measure. That was the 7th foul on the Saints, so that was a 1-on-1 opportunity, but they could not earn the bonus as the first free throw falls off. Marky Adams on the putback with the two-handed exclamation point on this game for the Saints. How's that for a way to finish things off? And how's that for a way to finish things off if you're a Knights fan? Nigel McKay drains the 3, and that will conclude our scoring for the night. So Marky Adams with the two-handed putback punch to close the scoring for the Saints. Nigel McKay at the other end laces a 3. The Saints dribble it out, and that will do it. 99-81 our score. St. Martin's with a very impressive home opening victory over a very talented and shorthanded Warner Pacific team here tonight. Whew, that was a doozy, y'all. So much fun. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. But once we return, we will hear from Saints head coach Aaron Landon. Fans, stick around. Do not change that dial. The Saints men's basketball postgame show is coming up on the other side of this break. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's men's basketball postgame show. We anticipate being joined by head coach Aaron Landon here in just a few moments. He's still taking a second to pour over the stat sheet and get dapped up a couple of times from some fans congratulating head coach Aaron Landon on the victory tonight. But goodness gracious, what a performance we got tonight from both of these teams. Both of them are shooting well over 50% on the game. St. Martin's, though, what a performance at the offensive end. They took care of the ball as well. Fewer than 10 turnovers. I know he's going to be very happy to look at that number and see just 8 turnovers on the night for the Saints. So much to be happy about from Aaron Landon, and we will hear from him in just a moment. He is on his way up. Such a fun way to open this season. And before we are joined by Coach Landon, I'd just like to say, unbelievable. I love what we've seen so far. I'm so encouraged. This is such a new-look squad for this team. It's going to be an adventure. This is going to be a fun season, everybody. There is much to be excited about from this point forward. And we are, in fact, now joined by the man of the hour, Saints head coach Aaron Landon, strapping on the headset. Hi there. How you feeling right about now?
I'm feeling weird. I haven't been up here in like 2 years.
Well, how about that for an opening start? You nearly put a C note up on a squad. I know that Warner Pacific a little bit shorthanded tonight, and they did play very well at the offensive end, but you've got to be quite pleased. I mean, quite pleased with the way that you guys scored the ball tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we hit shots. Guys shot it well. I'm just seeing these final stats now.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if these are right, but the ball was going in, and that's great. I guess, you know, the on the bright side. That was a huge emphasis in recruiting, is recruit to shoot. That was our slogan. And, yeah, if you make 13 threes, you're going to win a lot of games, and you're going to be in a lot of games, and they made 13 threes too. So, yeah, I mean, they had their point guard out, and that's a little concerning to us. Like, if they get their engine in and they really get in gear, we got to find a way to string, 3 stops in a row here and there if we're going to make runs and be serious about competing. But it's early in the year, and it's nothing against our guys. I got to do a better job just coaching them. And, we talk about defense every single day, and I got to go get on the film and just do a better job coaching defense.
Well, besides making shots, you guys did several other things really good at the offensive end of the floor. Let's talk about that 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. You had 24 assists tonight. That's the same number that you had for the first 2 games of the season. You came out and matched your season total in one game on its own, and you only turned the ball over 8 times. So when you're taking care of the ball like that and sharing it, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, the assist, it's a good point. I hadn't looked at that, and we've talked about that all week. We had a really bad night on Saturday. We talked about that all week, not sharing the ball enough and just spreading the ball around the floor. We think that things are going to open up, and we did a good job of that tonight. We had 15 assists when we played Oregon State in that exhibition, and we said that that's going to be our goal, is just over 15 assists every single night. So little drop-off from that last weekend, and thought that we spread the ball around tonight. Honestly, offensively, not really concerned about too much right now. Yeah, we just got to lock in and get better. And like I said, I'll take all the blame for the way we're defending, and we're work in progress. And so trying to figure out lineups and all that stuff. But end of the day, I gotta get our defensive scheme figured out.
51 points combined from 3 of our top newcomers, Brett Reed, Kyle Greeley, Christian Hafner. We're seeing immediate dividends from some of the new guys, the new faces that you've brought into this program. You've got to feel really good about how quickly they've adapted to your style, to your program. That's just a huge block of your scoring right there from 3 guys that, 2 months ago had never stepped foot on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about that in the recruiting process. Those guys were going to have to contribute right away for us to be good. And hopefully that was, part of the reason they came, was to help get us better right away. And, yeah, I mean, Greeley and, Christian, those guys are just offensive weapons. We don't talk a ton about offense with those guys every single day. It's usually the defensive end. Brett's such a good rebounder. What we got to get better at is figuring out how to play him and Marky Adams or him and Velchko together. I want to work on that big lineup. Offense, dried out tonight, and it's hard because we're telling those guys, hey, we really want you guys playing together, rebounding, and, we're emphasizing throwing the ball inside. And we scored a lot of points tonight, but I just think that when we're playing those two big guys together, we got to find some more ball reversals and just get them in their sweet spots a little bit more. And so, a lot of this, it's always good to learn, in a win. And it's great that we don't have a game this weekend, because we really need to look at this and look at what happened last weekend and get ready for a big road trip to California.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was going to be my next question. You guys do have a week off before your next game, a week from tonight. It is 3 games that spill right across that Thanksgiving break. You start off with Cal State East Bay, then a couple of nights later you shift over to Belmont and play Academy of Art, and you follow that up the following night against Cal State Monterey Bay. Right, like what jumps off the page real quick? What jumps off the page about each of those 3 teams?
I'll be short, and just cut me off because I'll probably start over talking. East Bay is just a really good program, and they didn't play last year, but I think the last Division II game I watched was the CCAA Tournament Championship in 2020, which is a really long time ago. And they lost to UC San Diego, who was transitioning to Division I. We played East Bay that year, and they're just really aggressive defensively. They try to pin you to the sideline, keep everything to the sideline, and down or ice ball screens, whatever you want to call it. So, they'll be unique. We'll play Academy of Arts on Friday after Thanksgiving. My friend Scott Waterman's done a good job. They're going to have a bunch of length and athleticism, and they had a really nice opening weekend. They got wins over Sonoma State and San Francisco State. So he's got them rolling, and that'll be a big challenge. And then, third night at Cal State Monterey Bay, they're going to be good. They split their opening weekend like us. as much as anything else, that's just going to be sort of that mental test of, playing 3 games in 5 days. And just really using that week to come together. I think a lot of our chemistry is going to grow through time together off the court. We're going to, eat Thanksgiving at my in-laws' house, and yeah, we're gonna spend some time together with our family as a team. Like driving around and just those hours hopefully add up, and a lot of time just together hopefully can kind of glue us together a little bit more, because we'll come back home and host those Alaska schools, and those are going to be really tough GNAC games to open things up. Yeah. So big trip for us ahead, and, obviously want to win all of those games, but just really want to get better this time of year more than anything.
Well, a week's worth of practice ought to get you ready for that road trip, Coach. You got 3 games in 4 nights. Wish you the best on the roadie. Safe travels there and back, and we'll see you back here inside Marcus Pavilion in a couple of weeks, okay?
Yeah, it was awesome to be back tonight. Fans were great.
Indeed it was.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right, that's head coach Aaron Landon stopping by for a few moments with a few post-game thoughts for us. And, folks, we'll take a quick look at stats here before we let you go for the evening. Again, our final score, Saints 99, Warner Pacific Knights 81. The Knights wound up shooting 51.6% from the floor, 48% from the three-point line. Yet still wound up dropping this one by a sizable margin, but really hats off to them for staying in this game for much of it and for just shooting the daylights out of the thing throughout. 19 points was the team high. That was Justice DeCourcy, and he did it a variety of different ways. He was hot at the start of the game, hot at the end. Not a ton in between, but he finishes with 19 points on a very tough 8 of 10 shooting from the floor. Played a team-high 25 minutes as well. 13 points. Oh, well, we'll give you Miles Brown's numbers. He finishes with 15 points on 6 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 4 from deep for the other big man for Warner Pacific. 13 points for Nigel McKay. The only other player in double figures for Warner Pacific was Thomas Miles. He finishes the night with 10 points and a team-high 4 assists. They do finish with 29 boards on the night, 20 assists, and 16 turnovers for the Knights. Over on the other side, the Saints, wow, these numbers are just absurd. You heard from Aaron Landon just now. He was sort of scratching his head wondering if these numbers were even real. 58.5% shooting from the floor, 56.5% shooting from the three-point line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Saints in double figures here tonight. Brett Reed with 20 on 10 of 12 shooting from the floor. Christian Hafner, 16 points. He was 4 for 7 from deep. 13 points, a baker's dozen for Alex Schumacher. 12 points for Tyke Thompson. All of them coming from behind the three-point line. The final Saint in I skipped right over Kyle Greeley. Look at that. 15 points on 5 of 7 shooting, and a team-high 8 rebounds as well for Greeley tonight. Marky Adams finishes with 11 points on a perfect 5 of 5 from the floor, and a team-high 2 blocks. The Saints, again, with those 24 assists on the night. Team-high 7 for Jaden Nielsen-Skinner. And he's quick. He is fun to watch, isn't he, folks? Get used to that. That dude is just preposterously quick. So 29 boards for the Saints. They turn it over just 8 times tonight. So much to be excited about here for St. Martin's as they head into that 3-game road trip before returning home to play the Alaska schools to kick off GNAC play. The first one coming to you on Thursday, December 2nd. That game scheduled, I believe, to tip at 7:30. And they play again on Saturday evening against Fairbanks at 5-ish. Check the schedule, folks. I can't be trusted. At any rate, that will do it here for us this evening. Can't wait to get my man Austin Burns back on the broadcast here. I did my best, but I probably came up woefully short in his absence. But hopefully we have him back on the broadcast. He's just the do everything, be everything sports information director of athletic communications for the Saints, and he just goes where the work is needed. So hats off to him for helping pull off our production here this evening. Once again, your final score, St. Martin's 99, Warner Pacific 81. On behalf of Austin Burns, and the entire St. Martin's athletic department, this is Jeff Lucero signing off for a couple of weeks, but we will see you back here inside Marcus Pavilion on Thursday, December 2nd for more Saints basketball. Until then, hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you then. Good night.